दत्तात्रेयसमारम्भां प्रसिद्धाधिकमध्यमां सच्चिदानन्दपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्री गणपति सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। शैवधर्यः पवर्तानां षडध्वादीतविग्रहः राद्धान्तो निगमार्थानां प्रसद्यात् दत्तसद्गुरुः। Offering my heartfelt pranams, obeisance to Puja Swamiji. Today we will have an interaction about the aspect of dharma. Dharma is the most commonly heard word in our culture. With the aspect of dharma, we stand out from the rest of the cultures. What is dharma? How is it relevant? Is it prevalent once upon a time, or is it still prevalent in many parts of the world? If so, in what forms? And how do we practice it? This is a often repeated debate. Even after many debates, people still struggle to find the answers. It is not that there are no answers. We have the answers. But how the mind correlates and adapts to the answers is the question on hand. Now let us understand what is a dharma. If I ask 10 persons sitting here, each will come up with one answer. Let me do that. What is dharma? What is your perception? Have you ever heard of the word dharma? No. Those who have not heard of dharma, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now it is the turn of the audience who have heard of dharma but do not know what it means or what it signifies. I want those persons to raise your hands. If you have heard of the word dharma but do not know what it signifies and what it means to you. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are not raising, then it will be your turn to explain the significance. Okay, good. Now I think we have got 5 to 6 persons who have heard of dharma but do not know its significance or its relevance to us. Now we have quite a chunk of people who are here who are very much understanding of the dharma. I want at least 2 or 3 persons to explain what is your take on dharma. Come on, it's an interaction. This is not meant to be a discourse.
So it is a universal law according to the Shastras.
Dharma is a, please.
Universal law according to the Shastras.
Okay, your good name please?
Padmanabhan.
Padmanabhan says, Dharma is the universal law according to the Shastras. Can you understand this? Can you understand what he said? Dharma is a universal law according to the Shastras. Right? Okay. Any other explanation, please?
Dharma depends according to the various occasions. It varies from occasion to occasion, and dharma is, you can say, there is no English equivalent. It can be called righteousness. But what is righteousness? It varies according to the circumstances and the situation.
Okay.
So dharma can be defined in various spheres as and when a crucial situation arises.
So,
But of course, it is infinite. It can be said that the dharma is the conduct of righteousness. That is the general definition.
so this is Narayana Swami, who is a fellow citizen of mine. He is also a resident of Mysore city. He is here with us. He says that dharma is not the same. It changes from time to time. It cannot be defined. And it is not absolute. That is what he says. Am I right?
Correct.
It is not absolute.
It is absolute, but it cannot be. Definition varies from time
That
to
means,
time.
see, the definition is not absolute. It varies from person to person, occasion to occasion. That is his take. Narayana Swami. What did the first person, Mr. Padmanabhan, said? What is dharma? Dharma is a universal law according to the Shastras. Can you please repeat it? Is a universal law according to the Shastras. What is the second person's opinion? Dharma cannot be defined. It changes from occasion to occasion. Any more explanations?
I believe doing the right thing when no one is watching.
Can you come over or say
Doing
loudly?
the right thing when no one is watching.
Doing the right thing when no one is watching.
Okay.
Like whatever you do, just do the right thing.
Doing the right thing when no one is watching. That is dharma. What's his good name?
Hemani. Hemani.
Hemani.
Hemani. Okay. Okay. Madam Hemani says that what is dharma? Dharma is to do the right thing when no one is watching. Right? What is dharma? Please repeat. Dharma is the right thing when no one is watching. That is the third definition we got. Any other opinions?
Performing one's duties, not in selfish, not in self-defeatance, but for the interest of others.
Okay, what's your good name? Madam Padma says that Padma is to do the beneficial things, beneficial duties which are not of selfish nature. If you are not doing anything for your own self, then it constitutes dharma. That is the opinion of Madam Padma. Right? Good. Any more? Okay. Since Mr. Padmanabhan has raised the prospect of Shastra or the scriptures, I need to give a little explanation about the way scriptures deal with any definition. First of all, why do you require a definition? This young child will ask me, why do you bother us with your definitions? Are they really relevant? Are they relevant? What do you think so? Are they relevant? They are boring, right? Of course they could be boring. True. But they have their relevance based on which our conversations will go on. Let me give you one first example. Hey Mike, I say this. If I say this word on a platform, on a public place, probably a person named Michael might turn up. If it is Shekhar standing by, he will understand that I need a microphone. So, the word mic has to be defined. If I am speaking, if it on this context, then I mean mic is microphone, it is not Michael, it is M-I-C, right? If it is elsewhere, if it is M-I-K-E, it means it's the short form of one Michael. The same word Mikhail, it is pronounced such in Soviet Union, Mikhail. Some people they say Michel. They are all the variants of the same word of Michael. Okay. So in the short form, they all mean mic. So whenever we talk of something, we always require a definition. Now, let us try to apply these definitions, whether they are universal or not. Universal means a sentence which is applicable to all the occasions. That is the meaning of universality. Padmanabhan said that Dharma is the universal law. Okay. In the current day context, what can be a universal law? The universe has several galaxies in it, several planets in it. Okay. The word universe constitutes all of these things. But out of these planets, we have inhabitation in only on this planet. So, persons who can speak a civilized language, whatever they can understand, that is being called as universal. But in true sense, universal is not universal. It does not apply to the entire universe. It is only applicable to one planet, that to only a very small portion of population which speak the universal, that means civilized language. So the word universal does not apply, it's not applicable. So if you put this definition, this will not pass the test of the logic. First thing. Okay, let me explain what is dharma. We will come to that later on. First we will see what is our opinion, whether this perception is, whether this can pass the test of the logic. What was the second opinion? Dharma is to perform his own duty. That constitutes dharma. That was the second opinion. Was it right? Hemani, what did she say?
I said do the right thing even when no one.
Right thing when no one is doing. Okay. When no one is watching. Even when no one is watching, you should be doing the right thing. Here again, what constitutes right, what constitutes wrong? This is a very delicate question. Have you heard of the word Levant? Levant? Okay, probably you should keep abreast of the latest developments happening in our neighborhood, say the Middle East. A huge group called ISIL, Islamic State in Iraq and Levant or Syria. It is doing a great job according to their own cult. Yesterday they have butchered 270 people and they have issued one fatwa or one diktat. All the people who do not follow Islam have three options. One, convert. The second one, pay us the protection charge, tax. The third one, face death. They say it is the right thing when no one is actually watching us. Because the entire world has turned its blind eye. Because that part of the country does not have any oil reserves. So we don't have any active interest in that part. No one is watching. They say we are doing the right thing. They said they are doing the right thing. And they are quoting their scripture saying that in the 6th century, before the Islam started, this was what the system was prevailing. Either people had to convert or pay protection money or they had to face death. So we are reenacting the same situation again because we are for the establishment of caliphate. And in earlier years in Afghanistan also it happened the same way. When nobody is watching, nobody is actually punishing you or disciplining you, you are doing what means right to you, you are just doing it. So can we call that dharma? Okay. The third question came, the third definition. What did she say? If it is beneficial to someone, you should do your duty. That was one definition. I can see some of the extremist groups doing the same thing. They say whatever they are doing is beneficial to their victims. They are stoning people to death. They are putting in them seminaries against their wishes. They are doing many of these things. Can that also constitute dharma? Don't know. Then the second opinion expressed by Narayana Swami comes out. Dharma does not have an absolute reference. It is varying from occasion to occasion. So you cannot exactly define the dharma. This is the fourth opinion. Correct me if I am wrong. Is it right? So these are the four opinions expressed by our esteemed audience. Now let us have a take on dharma ourselves, keeping all these perspectives in mind. Just give me a minute's time.